All right, everybody. The next exercise is exercise 10-11, and it deals with something called residual income. And residual income is the amount that's left over from sales, subtracting that minimum acceptable return on invested assets. So for the company, we've been given the operating income and the amount of invested assets in each division of Conley Industries is as follows. So they have three divisions: the retail, the commercial, and the internet division, and they give us the operating income and the invested assets. So what this 15% minimum rate of return means is that for each dollar of assets, we want to pull in 15 cents or 50% of every dollar in rate of return. And so the way that we calculate what that minimum rate of return is, and the problem also tells us that we're going to assume a 15% acceptable return on invested assets. So the first step is to determine what the minimal acceptable operating income as a percent of invested assets is. And so to do that, we're going to do this for each of our divisions. So we're going to take the retail division, and I'm going to say minimum return on invested assets. Okay, so to do that, we're going to take the $40 million in invested assets, multiply it by 15%, and when we do that, we arrive at $6 million. So what this is saying is that in order to achieve our minimum rate of return on the assets that we've had invested and that we're using in operations of the business, we expect to see a minimum income of $6 million. So in order to calculate the residual income, or the amount after we meet this minimum return on investment, we subtract that and we end up with a residual income of $3,600,000 in excess of the minimal acceptable operating income as a percent of our invested assets. So the company's doing pretty good in the retail division. We're going to do the same thing for the commercial division. Again, we're going to do that min ROIA, and this time we're going to take the 55 million. We're going to multiply it times the 15% because it's the same company-wide, and that's going to give us a minimum rate of return on invested assets of $8,250,000. Put that down here, $8,250,000. So that's going to give me a residual income of $3,850,000. So that's slightly larger than that of the commercial division. And finally, we have the internet division. And that is going to be 36 million of invested assets times that 15%, and that's going to equal a total of $5,400,000. So here we've got $5,400,000, and so that's going to give us a residual income for the internet division of $1,080,000. So again, residual income is the amount that we have left over above our invested assets. We always want to see this be a positive number. That's what we're hoping to look for here. And see how efficiently we're using our assets. So B says, which division has the most residual income? Well, that's our commercial. Most residual income. And again, this is to measure the efficiency of using those invested assets to generate income. And it'll be really more of an industry-wide percent. And that's how you solve exercise 10-11.